I love this game.
Yeah, let's look at Lady
this
Vols.
this is what we wanted the men's to do. This is
Yeah,
um
Lady Vols over USF 101 to 66. The game first quarter was very close. Um, but ultimately the substitutions for the Lady Vols and South Florida only playing 6 to 7 players in a rotation. Tennessee just wore down South Florida and the scoreboard reflected it.
Talasia Cooper, not a starter in this game, but didn't stop her as she put up 20 points. The Lady Vols shot 16 of 37 from three, 43%. I think that's the only way it's okay to shoot that many threes, as long as you're making them.
Yeah, exactly.
Shot 50% from the field. Early on, though, this game early on kind of was not a little scary or not a little worried, but it was like, man, we're really not capitalizing on a lot of these plays. We're missing layups, not playing the full press the way we should have been playing. USF was really staying in there, took a lead at one point. But then second quarter happened, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I am remembering correctly. I just looked
20
over.
All right, so 26 to 25 at the end of the first quarter, Tennessee leads by 1. Second quarter, Tennessee outscored South Florida 29 to 9.
I'm glad I remember correctly because I did not look at that when I said it. But yeah, I just remember like we pulled a massive gap before halftime, and I'm like, maybe the second quarter they only scored 9 points after having a 25-point quarter. That's massive. But that's where like you could tell Kim Caldwell made that switch. You could tell the full press defense was just dramatically different. You were getting some steals, you were causing turnovers, you were making USF play a little bit out of their heels a little bit. And man, that played dividends. And that allowed you to get that stretch lead, allowed you to play a little bit more loose. And of course, that's when you've seen a lot of 3-pointers go down because there's not so much pressure on shooting them. So overall, a really good game. You still got out rebounded, and your free throw percentage was god awful. Those things, free throws and rebounds, are, as you know, as we get to playing tougher competition like tonight, we're gonna need those numbers to be up a little bit. I don't care how many threes you shoot. But overall, I can't really complain too much about scoring 101 in March Madness, man. That's insane. Props to the Lady Vols and props to Kim Caldwell. That's an amazing win.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about it earlier. This was a NCAA tournament record for 3-pointers made in a single
16.
game.
Let's break it again tonight.
And also in this game, they broke the SEC record for 3-pointers made in a single season, broke Arkansas's record that was set back in 2017. I forget what the exact number is now, but it's at like 320 something now. I think 327, if I'm not
Oh yeah.
mistaken.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and they're just going to add on to that tonight against Ohio State. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to go 16 for 37 again against Ohio State, but
I like the matchup though. I like the matchup against
do.
Ohio State.
I do.
I'm not liking the next round if we make it, but I like this one. Like, I think the Lady Vols have a real chance of putting up a fight. And did they catch Ohio State at Ohio State? Because if so, that's a little unfair. But whatever.
Yeah, so because Ohio State got the 4 seed, they
Is
got
that how the women's brackets work?
yeah.
That's how the women's
So
brackets work.
so if we had gotten the 4 seed, if we
Because
hadn't
we would have
have
had the home game in the second
yeah,
round
if we hadn't have messed
or
up the
both rounds.
last 2 weeks of the season plus the SEC tournament, Tennessee would have been a 4 seed, possibly a 3 seed, and hosted the first 2 games. But yeah, so that's what Ohio State did. They got the 4 seed. They're hosting, so we do catch Ohio State on their home court. But I'm like you. I like the matchup. Both of these teams play similarly. They want to get up and down the court.
That's right.
They like to pressure on defense. The difference is Ohio State. If I heard correctly yesterday, they do have an injury to one of their best players.
Well, that's not how I want to win.
Well, I mean that takes away one of their rotation pieces, but they also don't rotate the same way Tennessee does.
Well, neither did USF. Like, let's be honest here. Tennessee in this game rotated. I think they showed the graphic. We had like 147 substitutes to USF's like 18.
Yeah, I mean USF only played 7 players in this game until the very end when they put in some of the younger players. But yeah, they do not have a big rotation. Now Ohio State rotates a couple more. I think they have like a 9-person rotation. But Tennessee's sometimes rotating 10, 11, and 12 people into a game. I do think that is going to pay dividends, especially if Ohio State is down a player or two.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be advantage Tennessee. Tennessee is a 1.5-point favorite in this game on Ohio State's home court.
Right on.
I,
Backflip said, "I'll take any advantage," and that's fair. Honestly, I'm probably the same way. I think of it like football, though, where like everything matters in football because you got to be so perfect. And in football, if you let's say you catch Georgia, but they're losing their best quarterback, running back, you name it, I don't care. But that you win, and then everybody's going to look at that win and be like, "Well, they weren't playing at 100%." So, like, I don't want those type of narratives to come out. But at the end of the day, in basketball, dude, it's March. I don't care if we make the Sweet 16, we make the Sweet 16, and what an opportunity the teams have. Tennessee to possibly get both teams in the Sweet 16. So, I'm gonna be tuned in tonight, 8 o'clock against Ohio State. But overall, man, Talasia Cooper, Samara Spencer, and company doing their part. I really like Z Spearman. I know you don't have her on the graphic here, but Z Spearman being able to do what she's doing. Let's see, she had 13 points. She went 4 of 7 from the field and 3 of 4 at the arc. I mean, you're talking about a big shooting the lights out. I love that about Z Spearman, and I think she's had that in her bag all season. She's kind of shown it, but been a little inconsistent. But what a game she had in this game in particular, and hopefully we get something like that for the remainder of this run. Because I mean, if she can put up stats like that again, another person off the bench, look out, man, because that's insane. I love those numbers coming from Z Spearman.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to a player as well, Julian Hollingshed, who in a stretch of about 2 minutes at one point in this game
Blah,
got
slap.
all she got all 7 of her points in
Yeah,
about a 2 minute stretch. She stepped back and knocked down a
she did hit a
three.
three, bro. That was
She hit a
insane.
little turnaround jumper in the lane, and then a couple of possessions later gets a pass and an easy layup for all 7 of her points, just like back to back to back. We talk all season long. We love Julian Hollingshed. We just didn't feel like this style of offense really fits her. But you know what? She stepped up in a big way on Friday, and she's showing that she's showing that she she can play in this style
Yeah,
of offense. Now
because she's not
she might
had the
not be the
best.
best player.
I was gonna say she's not had the best season, so I mean that's valid. I mean that kind of helps validate herself and makes her, build that confidence within herself that she is meant to be here. And I
Yeah,
completely agree with that. There's one more player I want to give a shout out to, Alyssa Latham.
she had a fantastic game.
Fantastic game. The box score ain't gonna show it. She only had 8 points, but in 18 minutes of play, she went 4 of 6 from the field. She had 4 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. You talk about making the most of your time on the court. Give me all of that, Alyssa Latham. Thank you so much because you were absolutely a part of this massive victory, 35-point victory. Yeah.
Yeah, and she had the third highest plus minus on the team. So for those that don't know, the plus minus there is basically the point differential when you're on the court. So when Alyssa Latham was on the court in this game,
We were
and
scoring and they weren't.
yes, a 26-point differential with her on the
She
court.
played the second quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. So the highest on the team is Talasia Cooper. Obviously, I mean, she was getting steals and scoring points in the game. She had a 35 point differential in the game. Second highest was Samara Spencer, who had she had a fantastic game as well. But then Alyssa Latham, as Skylar mentioned, in 18 minutes of play, had a 26-point plus minus differential when she was on the court. Just a fantastic game from Alyssa Latham.